The dust up and the probable divorce between Elon Musk and President Trump. And I'm going to disclose something to you. Sometimes the job I do, well, it's a blessing. And it's a job most people don't get to do, and it's unique. And I get to speak God's word into things. Sometimes it's a struggle, because I would be frank with you. I cannot build up some big fake head of steam to talk about Trump versus Elon. I'm sad about it. I'm sad because we were this close to a win. I'm sad because I can see both guys' points on this. I'm sad because Elon Musk, a guy who goes around fathering children every other week and doesn't bother to actually be a father, is accusing President Trump of being in the Epstein files. And I would suggest if President Trump was in the Epstein files, the Democrat Party, who tried to take him out, as it were, through legal systems and a coup attempt, and in my judgment, oh gosh, let's put some lazy, poorly trained Secret Service agents on his protection detail. Do you think they wouldn't have taken that selectively out and used that instead of the Russia hoax? You don't think they would have leaked the portion of the Epstein files with President Trump in it if it existed? And on the topic of Elon, in his view, the guy sacrificed nearly his entire company. He was willing to see his facilities burned down. He was willing to see his stock destroyed to go and use tech tools to uncover massive structural fraud in the federal government. Massive structural fraud, meaning a system set up to encourage, to steward, and to hide corruption. On the topic of Elon and his assertion that President Trump is in the Epstein files, David Schoen had been a lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein. He wrote, I was hired to lead Jeffrey Epstein's defense as his criminal lawyer 9 days before he was unalived. He sought my advice for months before that. I can say authoritatively, unequivocally, and definitely he had no information to hurt President Trump. I specifically asked him. And he's of the opinion that Jeffrey died, but he didn't say the words that a lot of people think happened. Although now we hear Dan Bongino saying it didn't happen. So what is a Christian response to this? Well, one of them is to look at what was actually going on behind the rules, or the walls of Congress. Anna Paulina Luna. Back in session, the Rules Committee and House leadership has decided to not bring anything to the floor to codify Trump's EOs or Doge. No codify votes? Guess what? No votes. Half the reason the GOP even took the majority is because of Trump and Elon, and now you guys are too scared to codify. They are too scared. And there's a pragmatism to this. And the pragmatism is that the establishment is waiting out Trump, that they don't really want things to change. So how do you respond to this as a Christian? Because that's my concern on this. President Trump is a Christian. He talks about Jesus. He prays to Jesus. I believe he's in a developmental process of his faith. We refer to that as being a baby Christian, and it's not an insult. Everyone starts somewhere. Elon Musk has talked about Jesus, but he doesn't know the Lord, and he's not a Christian. So we can't expect Christian behavior out of them, but we can use Christian teaching for instruction to see where this is going off track and maybe why. I'll explain that in a second as we cleanse our mind for just a second. We have all sorts of choices in this world. We can quarrel or not quarrel. We can fight with people like Elon. We can fight with brothers and sisters, or we cannot. You also have a choice on how you clean your body and your hands. We all know that great big companies very commonly do not have our best interests at heart. They do not agree with our positions. They're doing things like making their products with slave labor in China. That is not the case with a single soap company, Allen's Artisan Soaps. The soaps are made in America. They're all natural. They're made with no chemicals, and they're as gentle as soap can be. And it's called Allen Soaps because the reason it exists is to employ people like Allen, who's 13. He's been through 18 operations. He's effectively nonverbal. Ian now joins him working there. He's Allen's brother, also affected by autism. Amy is now working there. Amy got autism late in life, late onset autism. Imagine how frustrating. So the soap is world-class, made by a family of 3 generations of soap-making expertise and made in America. Go to allensoaps.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd to get 10% off all their products. allensoaps.com/Todd. In James, in the Bible, we read, what causes quarrels and causes fights among you? Is it not this, that your passions are at war within you? You desire and you do not have, so you end lives. You covet and cannot obtain, so you fight and quarrel. You do not have because you do not ask. And in that, they mean you do not have because you do not ask the Lord to fill you with that which would fulfill. We can look at Elon and we can look at President Trump. And both their hearts want something. I think both men are patriots. I think President Trump deeply, deeply wants to heal this country, particularly financially. And I think Elon Musk is truly, truly terrified that the country's going bankrupt. And they're both right. They're both right. And they're both wrong. Choosing this quarrel in public is exactly what Satan would want on a moment of precipice where a nation uniquely blessed with resources had an opportunity to at least begin to etch away at thieving. Because a nation that has encoded, you shall steal and be rewarded, cannot be fully rewarded by God.